The types of benefits. This is the good stuff here. This is the good stuff. The types of benefits, right? So we have an array of benefits, but we're talking about mainly disability compensation, all right, education benefits, healthcare benefits, home loan benefits, entitlements, VA home loan entitlements, okay, because again, everybody here, if you were in service, you are entitled to that home loan. Okay, so we want to talk about that. Burial benefits and dependents and survivors benefits. Dependents and survivors benefits. This is a huge one that I don't think a lot of service members actually utilize because, again, transitioning and carrying on those benefits, not only to yourself, but to your loved ones, that's huge. And I'm going to tell you how we can be able to get that. But it's obviously there are criteria and that we must reach. So let's talk about the most popular benefit. We're going to mainly focus on mainly is the disability compensation. The other benefits we're going to focus on and kind of touch on those and answer questions with those, but mainly disability compensation because that's going to unlock all the other benefits for you. Okay? So disability compensation. Pretty much I just want to give you the formal definition, right? What it is, it's a veteran offered military disability benefit that is offered to you if you have been injured in service by a physical ailment, mental ailment, or disease. Physical ailment, mental ailment, or disease, okay? But now, by definition, it needs to transpire while in military service. That's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily true. Just because it does not transpire in military service does not mean you're not going to be service connected for it. It's about how you present your case file. Okay? But now with that being said, I do want you to understand the amount of benefit are going to be based on a few different things. It's going to be based on the severity of injury, okay? Severity of injury, and also the considerable loss. Now, when we're talking about disability compensation is very popular. Why? Obviously, you get a monetary benefit that's direct deposit every single month. Who doesn't want free money, right? And again, however, that's a caveat. I would never say it's free because, again, you sacrifice for that, and the government has promised this to you, okay? So, but who does not want a monetary benefit direct deposit to you? Everybody wants that. Again, with inflation, with things happening going on, with being able to take care of your family, it gets more and more difficult. So by being able to have this monetary benefit that comes on to you, that's going to be excellent. So, but again, with that, I do want you to understand that the benefit goes from 10% to 100%. It goes from 10% to 100% in 10% increments. So if you ever encounter a veteran that says, hey, I have 87%, I advise you probably not to take the best advice from that, okay? Because we understand 87% does not exist, okay? So it goes in 10% to 100% in 10% increments. However, there's something called VA math. Has anyone heard that here? Oh, yeah, listen, that VA math is... It's a thorn in everyone's butt, isn't it? So I'm telling you. So VA math, I want you guys to understand, VA math is terrible. It is terrible when trying to maximize your benefit, but there's ways to work with it. As I mentioned, you do not need to only have a service-connected disability that is only happened in service. But we can figure out how it happens outside of service as well and how to apply those injuries that's going to work around the VA math. There's such laws such as bilateral factor. A bilateral factor. Does anyone know what that is in particular? Well, let me explain it. So if I injure my right shoulder in service, every time I'm lifting anything over 35 pounds, I have an injury within my right shoulder. So with that being said, I'm probably not going to utilize my left shoulder so much, right? I mean, I'm going to utilize it a lot more. And obviously, utilizing another extremity more is overcompensation. So now if I injure my left shoulder just because of my right shoulder, now at that point in time, guess what? I am having injury that was caused by, again, service-connected injury. That is a secondary claim. That is a secondary claim. How do you prove that? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But there's also other ways, such as 1151 claims. Has anyone here used the VA as their medical provider? Mainly use the VA as their medical provider. So, utilizing the VA as your main medical provider is great because low co-pays or totally free. Awesome. However, if the VA actually injures you while working on you, while getting treatment, surgical procedures, even pharmaceutical medications, well, that's a claim for service connection, okay? It is called an 1151 claim. It is called an 1151 claim. However, it must be proven that that is something that is the VA has caused and the VA has done to you. But again, these are not the things that you navigate without guidance, all right? Now, with that, I'm sorry, this is my first time using the clicker. I'm just trying to get used to this thing here.
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
The 10% in increments of 10, is that based on highest rank attained while you're in the military, or is it a set amount?
No.
Body, like insurance is what, $250,000 per death benefit for your family. Is it a set amount, or is it based on
Got
rank
it.
gain?
Great question. Does everyone hear that? Is the percentage based upon a set amount that the VA has set as that's what you receive? The answer to that, yes, sir. It's based on a set amount that they have provided to you, which we're going to actually go through. It's a set amount that they actually provided to you that whatever your percentage is, that's what you receive, okay? However, there's extra compensation available to you in such things as special monthly compensation called SMC. SMC, SMCK, SMCL, SMCR. No need to go into details amongst that because we're not providing a class in that. We're providing a class on what the benefits are. But to answer your question, sir, yes, it's a set amount for that, okay? But there's ancillary benefits that goes with each set amount that we're going to talk about as well. All right? So now, we need to talk about the eligibility factors. So, in regards to eligibility, I'm sure that you have heard you must have an honorable discharge in order to receive military benefits or VA benefits, correct? Yes, no, maybe so? Yeah. All right, so that is not entirely true. That is not entirely true. As you see on screen here, what you need other than a dishonorable discharge. So if you did not get that, the bad chicken dinner, or big chicken dinner, you're good to go. You're good to go, okay? So as long as that's not what you receive, and you receive the other than honorable, what the VA is going to do, they are going to make something called an administrative decision on your other than honorable discharge. If it does not exceed their criteria of what is a dishonorable discharge, at that point, you're honorable for VA purposes, for VA benefit purposes. We don't care what your DD 214 says. We don't care about, the VA does not care about that. If it says other than honorable, no problem. Let's handle our business now. So now you're able to receive benefits even if you were kicked out under a general discharge, other than honorable discharge, and so on and so forth, okay? We've assisted a client that was actually had a medical condition in boot camp. They went off to the fleet. As soon as they went off to the fleet, unfortunately, the medical condition flared up. At that point in time, they could no longer serve, and at that point, they had issues with their leadership. As everyone knows, your leadership in the military dictates how your service time is going to go, okay? So with that, unfortunately, they were kicked out because of discrepancies with one another. At that point in time, come to us, hey, we're going to assist you, no problem. At that point in time, they were able to receive 80% increase in disability. And they were actually working on their the other portion of their benefits. They were able to receive 80% disability, and they only did 7 months of service. 7 months of service. Okay? So I want you to understand how impactful your knowledge is. Okay? I don't advise, I promise you, I do not advise taking knowledge from anyone, okay? We are going to give you the information, but also provide you manual references and laws to support that, okay? So now with that being said as well, so that's the eligibility. Next, we want to talk about certain injuries, right? Fractured wrists, okay? Fractured wrists, knee strain, foot strain, migraines or headaches. You guys may think it's something that you deal with every day. What we do as, again, service members, even in active duty, we may not went to medical. Again, I was not a medical commando because I was not allowed to due to the fact again, and I'm a Navy veteran, I would be labeled as a non-productive worker, but they would say it in other terms. We'll leave that from outside the classroom. But with that, what happens is that specifically, I would be labeled that and I would receive a bad evaluation for promotion. So never went to medical, never went to medical. So with that being said, unfortunately, that hurt me when I went to go live the rest of my life. Military, this amount of time in my life, the rest of my life. Yeah. So which one am I gonna focus on? I should be focused on my life there after service, okay? So, but these small injuries, small injuries and small things that you may go through life and saying, hey, that's just my body, whatever, you have come prone to minimizing your pain, your headaches, your mental ailments, your hearing loss, anything. You have become prone to that. So we need to find a space of vulnerability to make sure that you understand that you're describing and discussing everything in very fluid and understandable and concise terms for the VA. That's why we hold development calls with you, because we want you to understand these things, okay? We want you to understand these things. And by understanding these things is gonna put you at a better place. So now we talked about the eligibility. Yes, sir.